Using the scales from the shark, we fashioned them into dull knives in order to pierce through the tough boar hide. The woman gave us a brief tutorial for properly skinning the carcass before heading out into the ocean to spear for fish. Louisa, Dallas, and I worked to carve out our food for the day. The mid-morning sun was relentless as we put as much elbow grease into the hide. I was quickly going through my last water bottle I had been babysitting for the past 2 days. My mouth felt like cotton under the humid, salty heat, so I had no choice but to bite the bullet and finish my bottle. While one hand was still elbow deep into the bore, I felt around to the side of me to pick up my bottle, but all I could feel was sand. I turned my head to see that my bottle wasn't next to me where I last placed it. I looked all around me to see that it just vanished, but then I looked up towards Dallas. He was chugging down the last few drops from my bottle. I knew it was mine because he finished his last bottle yesterday. My heart sank to my stomach seeing his Adam's apple bob up and down from my water. I both literally and figuratively saw red as I glared.
Dallas, please tell me that wasn't my bottle you drank from.
He finished drinking, then wiped his mouth and gave me a nonchalant look.
It's a fucking scorcher out here, Merc. You can't expect me to do this while dehydrated, right?
Is that a rhetorical question?
But that was my bottle.
Dallas shot me a smirk.
Your water will help us move a lot quicker, wouldn't you say?
That's it. That was fucking it. I've had enough of his shit. I pulled my hand out of the bore and lunged towards Dallas, landing on top of him. Dallas was on his back in the sand while I had all of my weight on him.
Merc, chill the fuck out. What's wrong with you?
He tried to wrestle me off of him. Barely registering what he said, I wound up my right arm and balled my hand into a fist. With the fury of Ares, I smashed my fist into Dallas's left cheek. His face violently turned to the right. Pain radiated from my fist all the way to my torn shoulder, and I shrieked in agony, grabbing my right arm with my left.
You guys, stop, please.
I could hear Louisa yell. Dallas spun his head back to me as blood poured from his mouth.
Get the fuck off me.
He pried his leg out from under me, then landed a rib-cracking kick to my abdomen, pushing me off of him.
Ah!
I screamed as I tumbled to the sand. An excruciating level of pain that was foreign to me enveloped my body as I tried to gather myself off the ground. From the corner of my eye, Dallas stood up and straightened out his rank jacket.
You know,
He spat some blood onto the sand.
I haven't wanted to do that to you for so long, Merc.
I weakly turned my head to him.
You're an asshole.
He walked closer until he was standing over me.
That's funny. Your father called me the same thing, rest his soul.
Dallas gave me another kick to my stomach. I screamed in pain again, then opened my eyes to see Louisa coming to my aid.
Get the hell off of her, pendejo.
She tried pulling his arm, but he wasn't budging. Dallas's massive hands grabbed her by the face and pushed her to the ground before turning his attention back to me.
Your idiot of a father didn't like me from day one.
He gave me another swift kick.
Telling me that I was an asshole, a parasite, a mooch, and unworthy of his daughter's attention.
Another kick.
Me, a fucking alpha male, unworthy of your attention? You were never worthy of my attention.
Another kick that left me dazed. Dallas got on his knees and pulled on my hair for me to look at him. The world spun around me as I tried to stay conscious.
The only reason I kept hanging around you was to piss off your dad.
He slammed my head back to the sand.
You pretentious lot always thought you were better than the rest of us, making us feel like peasants if we didn't have the same fucking interest in music or art or whatever you snobs like. My mom tried her hardest to keep up with the Joneses, to be seen as worthy by you entitled pricks, only to put us in financial ruin. She was so ashamed that she couldn't even show her face at the auction.
Dallas's voice trembled with rage upon that revelation.
I was never your friend. You were a mediocre fuck with unlimited access to good booze and the club. I bet Daddy Dare's just rolling in his watery grave, wishing you kicked me to the curb.
He spat his blood onto my forehead.
Now look who's kicking who.
He wound up his leg for another kick when the woman appeared, almost as if summoned from behind Dallas. She held a shark scale knife to his neck, pressing down as blood leaked out from the cut.
Make a move and you die where you stand.
Her haze, a contorted hurricane of blood red. I lost consciousness.
Wake up.
I felt someone shaking my shoulder, so I groggily opened my eyes. I was disoriented, but I still noticed that it was now nighttime as the stars once again appeared. My stomach let out a growl that both hurt like hell and told me that I was hungry.
Is it dinner time yet?
I weakly asked, still staring up at the stars.
No, mademoiselle. Dinner time has ended.
Mademoiselle.
Quickly snapping back to reality, I lifted my head up to see the scarred pirate man from the cruiser had his hands on my shoulder. My eyes almost popped out of its sockets upon realizing he was the man I was looking at face to face.
Please don't be frightened, chérie.
He stood up and walked backward. Behind him revealed his crew, who were all wearing face coverings and tactical gear while holding various firearms. In one of the men's hands was the woman whose mouth was bound and gagged. My eyes traveled left and right to try and find Louisa or Dallas, but they were not among the group.
Isn't it so serendipitous that we meet again?
The scarred man said to me as he walked closer and turned his attention to the gagged woman.
You took 6 of my men, so I'll be taking 6 of your tools.
He rubbed the woman's chin with his dirt-stained fingers. She immediately tilted her head away from him in disgust. The scarred man cocked his hand back and gave her a swift backhand to the face.
So impolite of you, you cur.
The woman quickly collected herself and mumbled something through the gag. Coming from her eyes was a kind of vitriol I had never witnessed in a person. Her perpetual aggressive aura transformed into a hue of red unlike anything I had seen before. This lava-like waft erupted from every pore in her body as she continued giving the scarred man a deathly glare.
Oh, you have something you want to say?
The scarred man said, then pulled down her gag. The air stood still, her waft intoxicating, an unbridled rage longing to be unsheathed. The wrath of Mount Vesuvius was a mere smolder to this woman's aura, while the world was her Pompeii to decimate. There were no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Blood would be shed by the droves on this island.